Jesus Christ will govern from Old Jerusalem and the New Jerusalem, built upon the American continent.
Travis Wingetzel. In the First Amendment of the Bill of Rights in our Constitution, there's religious freedom. Religious freedom allows anybody to assemble or to not assemble and be your own religious believer in whatever religion you want to believe in. And the United States of America will protect you, or at least they're supposed to. And ideally, religions are supposed to teach people to be good to other people. And that's why there are other Bill of Rights and amendments towards that. Is that as a religion, you cannot have a separate business as a religious person in the public and pick and choose who you want to come to your business. Such that if you disagree with another person's religious beliefs, you are not allowed to deny goods and services to that individual, because you get religious rights and they get religious rights. If you're going to own a business, you need to make your products available for all. Equal for all. Only those who commit crimes against your business can you say, no, you do not get service here. Crimes, those who take away the rights of others, life, liberty, property. And thus the government is supposed to step in to protect you against criminals of your business. Likewise, hospitals are supposed to give care to every citizen equally. You cannot have a religious test for service at a hospital. Oh, I'm sorry, your practices are not in conformity with my beliefs, therefore I will not help you. You are now violating your Hippocratic oath as a doctor and causing harm. So not only are you committing a violation of the Constitution to the rights of that other person, you are also in violation of your Hippocratic oath as a medical doctor and will be required to lose your license and your ability to practice medicine thereafter. Real simple stuff. And so, since 2017, and even before that, let's start from the beginning. 2014, I started posting videos on YouTube about my Paleo-Hebrew research. As such, because I was born and raised in the covenant path of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, I was told that Joseph Smith is our founder and that the Book of Mormon is our keystone. And so, believing that, following the Book of Mormon in Alma chapter 32, starting in verse 28, I'm not going to say, no, I don't believe this, and not do anything about it. Just say, nope, I don't believe it. I'm going to go find something else to believe in. No. It says believe first. Test it out. Find out if the word is true or false. So that's what I did. And it took some time because parents, church didn't want me to learn the information. Didn't want me to figure it out. But eventually, the choices in my life led me to the answers that I was seeking for as a child. And I became the decipherer of Paleo-Hebrew, which led to a whole bunch of other stuff. I'm kind of a big deal, and I'm known worldwide. And so I identify myself as a pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptian. That is my religion. And because of this, you will notice that my videos are critical of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. If the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints was just that, and they were Christians, only believed in the Bible, and believed in a non-Trinitarian Jesus, that would be fine. If all they were doing was gathering at Sundays to preach people to be good to their neighbors. But as a Mormon born and raised in the covenant, raised up in all the traditions over these decades, this is not the case. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is a criminal operation. They are a fraud. They are deceivers, using religion as a front for their criminal activities, insurrectionist activities. Their murders, their thefts, their hostage taking, holding people in bondage, violating life, liberty, property. And thus, this organization has no protections under the Constitution. And it is unfortunate that our government refuses to step in and stop them again. 1887, the United States of America shut down Brigham Young's Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. It ceased to exist on the face of the earth. It's gone. If that's shocking to you and you didn't hear about that, yeah, it's because the church didn't tell you. They've been lying to us. Purposely, maliciously. It's because they are the enemy that is about to overthrow our government. There is no truth in them whatsoever. Because for the most part, because I'm only focusing on Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon, which means I have to correct everybody's knowledge about them as Jewish, pre-Babylonian captivity Jewish Egyptians, which Joseph Smith Sr. would call New Israelites, as he was a part of the New Israelites, but not a member of. He attended their meetings as often as occasion would permit in Vermont, before Joseph was born, Jr. And I think even before Hiram, unless Hiram was born on the 0 year, 1800. If it was 1801, maybe not, because the wood scrape put an end to the New Israelites. So yes, there's information that I could divert from the main theme here. So understand this. I've got over 8K videos that I've done all these years for you on the 2 channels forced upon me by YouTube because of their cyber terrorism. YouTube, after my #1 video on this channel, in fact both channels, this is my #1 video, because the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints denies me my rights to life, liberty, and property. I've been in bondage several times to this church. They have attempted to murder me on numerous occasions, and they've been stealing my property. Not just the cyber terrorist attacks that have escalated this year, because this year is it. And at the beginning of the year, I noticed that I was getting attacked far more than normal. And then I got a hold of the leaked talk by Oaks. YouTube does not have the right to attack their creators just because they disagree with their religious position. YouTube doesn't even have an identification for channels to be religious content. They've got entertainment, they've got music, they've got educational, but I can never find religion. YouTube does not allow religion on their YouTube channel. I have to do it public or something like that. And as such, YouTube treats me as an enemy, going against the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I'm not. It's just that the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints is going against the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith by calling them Christian. Like I said, if they stuck to the Bible, if they stuck to being Christian, if they stuck to only preaching that people be good to others, I can't attack them. It's when people lie to harm others, to take away rights to life, liberty, and property. It's when people are committing crimes. We as American citizens cannot just sit back and say, well, somebody else will deal with it. When somebody's committing a crime, we need to report it. And that's why it's sad and pathetic that our government's refusing to do anything against this church. They are in on the coup. Our government. This is why it's a battle between communism or fascism for this election. You choose how your government will be couped, but Harris will not be allowed to win. Oaks. He leaked. God leaked. And so what is this threat by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints? Well, one, they're not a church. They never reincorporated after the United States dissolved it. Heber C. Kimball, or not Heber C. Kimball, Heber J. Grant, so many similar names. No, Idaho chick. I'm not going there. Again, diversion from the main thing. Saw your new thumbnail though. Nice flowers. I think they're flowers, aren't they? It's a little tiny picture. But anyway. So, I don't know why you'd hide your face. Heber J. Grant, on November 26, 1923, filed articles of incorporation. That has now gone viral. Everybody can have free, easy access to it. And the Freedom of Information Act allows us to obtain that information and spread it far and wide to let everybody know the danger of this corporation. And that's what he named it. So original. The corporation. And so he's the president of the corporation. And in that article of incorporation, he informs that those who were members of the now dissolved Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints are to be the cash cows. And so his whole corporation is to be a front for religion, that those who are members are to pay the corporation to be a corporation. And thus why the church has been hoarding money. Anytime they do spend is for an investment. You build a church so that people have a place to gather, to join the church and get baptized and pay the corporation. Temples, same thing. They force you to pay in order to be worthy to go to the temple. They're a corporation. They're not a religion. You're supposed to test them for their fruits to find out if they're true or false, good or bad. Members of the church failed. Those who left the church, good for you, you found out they're lying, but you didn't bother to keep going to figure out what's going on, to figure out what then is Joseph in the Book of Mormon. Because all ex-fo nevermos believe that Joseph Smith was a polygamous child rapist. Because this church said so. Only this church said so. And so now, this year, with the Kirtland being sold to this corporation, which, dear God, there was a document by Joseph Smith's own handwriting tucked in his 1830 Book of Mormon, which was a repeat of what the Book of Mormon says 6 times, and his 1835 Doctrine and Covenants, which was section 101 in that book, that edition, promoting monogamy, condemning polygamy. And so, are people just going to believe whatever they want to believe? You are allowed to do so, but not of other people. Because when you now claim that some other religion or some other person believes what you want them to believe, you are now violating their rights to religious freedom, their rights to life, liberty, and property. Thus, this corporation, by turning Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon into Christian, is a violation of Joseph Smith's and the Book of Mormon's rights. People who do critical literature commentaries should have been going over the Jewish Book of Mormon. And I know none of it. I only know of Christianized commentaries. And so the church is telling the world how to believe the Book of Mormon. That is Christian, another testament of Jesus Christ. And many in the world, especially Christians, know that that's false. But not a single person is testing the Book of Mormon as Jewish, pre-Babylonian captivity Egyptian. This is how evil and deceptive the church is. And so another thing that we all know they lie about is church history. They have to. Their whole existence is dependent upon getting people to believe the lie that Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon are Christian. Thus, they have to lie about church history. It has to be turned literal history. They have to cover things up. They have to avoid footnoting. They have to redefine words. They have to take things out of context. They have to be contradictory. Hope that you're not smart enough to catch on, so that you continue to believe their lie. And Wikipedia perpetuates it because Mormons put the information in there. CNN falls for it when they do summaries of the church. CNN doesn't do independent investigative research, which is what a news station is supposed to do. Not a single national news or world news has ever bothered to do a linguistic study on the Book of Mormon to report on it before interviewing a leader of this church or a presidential candidate, so that they could ask him, "We've done some research on the Book of Mormon and found that it's Jewish. What do you have to say about that, Mitt Romney?" "We did some investigating in your church history, Mitt Romney. We found that Joseph Smith was framed and blamed and murdered by the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. What do you have to say about that, Mitt Romney?" Nobody's doing it. Just me on my channel, because I'm doing the investigative research. I was told to study, so I did it. But this is not what the church wants. No duh. So, May 1st, 1776, Johann Adam Weishaupt created the Illuminati. America had the revolution, and we won the revolution, and thus became a target for the branching out of this Illuminati group. Their whole intention was to destroy nations. And so with the founding of a new nation, we became a target for this enemy. And there's people who have reported that they had made it to America and had attempted attacks in the 1800. And then again in the War of 1812, when Washington, or the White House, was burned to the ground. William Morgan had learned of this Illuminati threat and what they were planning to do immediately and what they were planning to do at a future time, using the Bible to coordinate their attack, because everybody believes that the Bible is Christian. Nobody understands the learning of the Jewish authors and their religion because of the damage that Constantine did with the first creed of Christianity. And so, with the Enlightenment period, came a resurgence of the knowledge of the Greeks, both in science and in logic. And this was a threat to the Catholic Church. That was one of the dominant branch-offs of Constantine's Holy Roman Empire, as they were able to obtain the Vatican land and claim that the tomb of Peter is below them, to reinforce their first creed of Christianity, that the Bible is literal history. Upon this rock I will build my church. I didn't know about that until I saw Dan Brown's movie, Angels and Demons. Read his book first, I think, before I saw the movie. I really liked the book. I really wish he would have conformed the movie to the book. But now they've changed the original book to conform to the movie. And so I can't find his original book pre-movie, which is sad because I like that version. There was some other fun stuff in there that I enjoyed. Anyway, regardless. And so because they knew of this knowledge that was verboten, they knew that nobody else knew about it. That the Jews were not just prophesying of future events about their religion, not Christianity, but also they were giving days and hours, called revelation. Exact dates, because they're using the heavens, the stars, as the celestial bodies go through the zodiac. And every single second it is brand new, never to be repeated, never happened previously. What you go out right now before the sun comes up, you'll never see ever again. They knew this. That's why they used it, because they knew nobody else on the face of the earth knew this, except for Jewish Kabbalists of the New Israelites in Vermont. And so a William Morgan, by finding out about this, came to Western New York looking for someone to help him write a book to warn America. He obtained a house in Batavia, New York, where the press there in Batavia, David Miller, was able to front him the money to work on the book. But because of the seriousness and the national security threat to America, it was necessary that he distance himself from his family. So the house is in Batavia, where his family is getting taken care of. And he went out to find another York Rites Freemason lodge, not a Scottish Rites, because that's what he learned. is that the Illuminati had come to America in 1812 and had infiltrated the Scottish Rites Freemasonry. They were doing that pattern of practice. Infiltrate, increase in numbers, rise up in rank, obtain leadership, destroy it, and start brand new. Yes, this is exactly what they did to Joseph Smith through the missionary program, when Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball joined the church for that one and only one intention. That's why there's inverted pentagrams all over with those two. That's why John C. Bennett, after getting exposed, was not allowed to come back to the Danites, and so he went off and formed his own Illuminati Halcyon order. And that's why he got James Strang to get involved in polygamy, which went bad. Because others who were a part of Joseph's church, who branched off to that religion with James Strang, knew nothing about polygamy, knew that Joseph Smith was against it, and thus the conflict that ensued. Like I said, only Brigham and his Danites, as they called themselves, judges. So as I'm jumping ahead, William Morgan found the lodge in Canandaigua, New York, to help him. The Master Mason was Joseph Smith Sr. And they began working on the book. Until 9/11/1826, the enemy found out what William Morgan was up to. They hadn't made the connection to Joseph Smith Sr. And so, Sr., as the Master Mason, is responsible for his life, and then made sure that he got out of the country. And then gave plausible deniability by being the author of the William Morgan book. Did you count the pages, the written pages of William Morgan's book? Anybody know how many pages were stolen by Martin Harris? Yeah, this is where it's important to actually do research, to investigate everything. Because there's a real cool history going on here. This isn't something that I want to see in a movie form. I just didn't realize that I was going to be a part of it. And so I'm not going to be able to watch the movie. Just like I can no longer watch Daniel Craig's final movie as James Bond. And so, yes, this is where Sidney Rigdon comes in. Senior knew Sidney Rigdon. Sidney Rigdon is out of the picture, out in Ohio. Because everybody was trying to look for those 116 pages to destroy them, or to find out what's on them, to see what was being covered up with his false arrests on 9/11/1826. Thus sparked the Book of Mormon, and thus sparked Joseph Smith's Church of Christ. Jewish, not Christian. And so yes, you see Jesus in the Bible. You see Jesus in the Book of Mormon. You see Jesus in the Doctrine and Covenants. But you're not supposed to interpret it as Christian with the first creed of Christianity. You're supposed to interpret it as a Jew, like a Jewish author. This is where everybody screws it up. And thus, now we can get back on track in the chronological order. Brigham Young and Heber C. Kimball. Heber C. Kimball was the one who found out about it. And as Brigham Young was now a neighbor, they were in on it together. And so, as the church tells us, their first assignment as missionaries, they went right back to their hometown, where the Scottish rites were. That were now dissolved because of the anti-Mason movement. Senior sacrificed all of Freemasonry to make sure that the Book of Mormon gets published, to make sure that William Morgan escapes the country. And they made sure that his wife was taken care of. That's why it was a way older man that remarried her after the judge determined that William Morgan can now be officially called dead. Too many people rush to judgment without doing a thorough investigative research. But yeah, if you do, you'll get punished, just like the sheriff who investigated the crime, or supposed crime. He got punished worse than those who were accused of kidnapping William Morgan. And similarly to the National Guardsman here in Utah, whose wife is now on trial for his murder, but yet we don't have a body. Same thing with William Morgan. They never had a body, but the two men, or several men, depending on how many it was, I don't remember, went to trial because of the kidnapping and murder. But there is no body. You kind of need evidence in order to present a case in trial. But this is where our justice system has failed Americans. That woman is innocent until proven guilty. She is not to be guilty until she can prove her innocence by confessing where she buried the body. Josh Powell was in the same situation. To this day, his wife has never been found. And yet, he was not treated innocent until proven guilty. Everybody assumed he was guilty, everybody assumed he murdered her, and it's just a matter of time until we dig up all of America that we'll eventually find her, just like we'll eventually find evidence of Nephites and Lamanites in America. It's not how investigation works. It's not how science and logic works. And so, like I said, the United States shut down Brigham Young after he insurrected Joseph Smith in 1838 and then again in 1844. They had failed in 1838. Joseph Smith got out. And so they had to come up with Plan B to get rid of him. And there was a moment where he might run for president. He was running for president. And so when you look at the bigger context, because I'd have to, again, go into full research data with you, Joseph Smith was being plotted to be Abraham Lincoln as assassinated as a president. That's why Abraham Lincoln was chosen instead. Notice, by the Confederates. Because the Danites joined Heber C. Kimball with Joseph to infiltrate, rise up in number, rise up in rank, get into leadership, destroy. Others who didn't join went south and would become the Confederates. thus the inverted pentagrams on their flag. Notice the cross. They know exactly the star date given in the book of Revelation, the book of Matthew, for the coming of Jesus, which Christians believe that Jesus is coming in the latter days because he failed to save the Jews during the Roman period of time. And he's going to kidnap and hold hostage the righteous, and then come from the clouds of glory and burn the rest of the world as wicked, those who are left behind. And then the righteous will worship him as slaves during the millennium. That's the Christian version. It's not very friendly, faith promoting. So yes, Christians don't like it, but that's exactly what you're talking about. Have you never watched the Left Behind movies? I saw the Nicolas Cage one. I have not watched the other series. That's exactly what it's about. Some higher power kidnaps people, takes children from their mothers, and they take them naked. And Christians don't see this as wrong. Again, rights to life, liberty, and property. Christians turn Jesus into a criminal, a terrorist, with that first creed of Christianity. And they blame the Jews for Jesus being a terrorist. That's why Joseph Smith called Christianity an abomination. And guess who put Jesus Christ in the name of Joseph's church in verse 1? But you won't look up the Joseph Smith papers. So 1838 was election fraud, decertification of the election, civil war, and the coup with attempted murder, burnings, rapings, getting the whole of the church to blame for what the Danites, the secret combination, were doing. The exact same pattern for what they plan to do in the latter days. And so Brigham Young, after murdering Joseph Smith, took over with his military might of the Danites. Others had to go their own way if they didn't want to be a part of it. So Sidney Rigdon, James Strang, and others. Brigham Young began the revisionist history of Joseph Smith that he'd already been doing it in secret. They had been passing around their wives among each other, and those who were adopted into this gang banging were told that Joseph Smith approves of all this. He's in charge of it. He ordered it. But shh, don't tell Joseph. You need to keep it a secret. And so many people, like Thomas B. Marsh, did not understand this. That the people who were telling them that Joseph Smith was doing all this were lying. They were the ones doing it and blaming Joseph for it. That's why Thomas B. Marsh's affidavit to the governor that caused the extermination order of all Mormons was because he did not understand. He says it, but then he says he believes that Joseph Smith, that these guys are telling the truth about Joseph. If he had just stuck to the facts and learned who the actual secret combination was run and operated by, the governor would have been given the correct information to only target those Danites and assist Joseph Smith in finding them and locking them up or exterminating them if necessary. Because these guys are warriors. They want blood. They will not compromise. They will not repent. They want death if they cannot control. They are the judges. It is their right to rule. It's in the Book of Mormon. And so in the coming days, what they wrote in the Book of Mormon is going to happen is going to happen. And remember that whole spat about the Bible being banned in Utah for porn? And then people started coming out and saying the Book of Mormon also. And then they went, oh, whoops. Okay, fine, we'll put back the Bible in the children's library. This is getting out of hand. Cross the line. If you go after the Book of Mormon, that's going too far. It's okay if you ban the Bible. And so, yes, people are correct about the Illuminati threat, but they'd never do their research. They hear a little piece here, a little piece there, and there are those who are set up to deny it, say, no, fake news, to cause confusion, to enhance the mystery, to turn it into a redefined conspiracy. Because a conspiracy is a legitimate thing, but now it's been redefined so that it's now fake news. No. When you're investigating a crime scene and you find out that there's more than one person involved in the crime, yeah, you've now got a conspiracy. It's not fake news. But that's what the enemy wants to do. Sow confusion. Get people to deny and lie. So that nobody can know what's true. Oh no. You use science and logic. They know this. But they know that you're dumb as Christian, so that you don't know this. And they prey upon your stupidity. And so John Ingersoll's books, The Last President and the Amazing Adventures of Baron Trump, or whatever it was called, yeah. They use that because that corresponds with their plot. But Albert Pike had already written a letter to Giuseppe Mazzini confirming that Brigham Young and his Danites with the inverted pentagram and the doctrine of Lucifer is the ones in charge, by confessing that he's an Illuminati and a Scottish Rites. That their plot was to destroy religion, to cause such the greatest horror of the purge ever, that survivors won't have anywhere to go. Jesus did not show to save them. Thus, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints steps in and says, here we are, we own the land, we are now taking over the government. This is what Thomas B. Marsh said. This is what Albert Pike is referring to. Exterminate the masses, destroy religion, destroy the governments, and then the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints runs the whole world. This is why they're hoarding money. This is why they're rapidly building more temples. They own the land now. So when the governments fall, the church is filthy rich in the trillions and owns the land. This is why China is buying up America, because they know what's coming. They're helping to cause what's coming. Russia knows what's coming. They're helping to cause what's coming. So Thomas B. Marsh in his affidavit says that they plan on coupping this government and the whole world. This is the plot, confirmed by multiple sources. And then you have Joseph Fielding Smith Sr., who is a Smith descendant of Hiram. He's his son. And so he can't be told, yeah, we're the enemy, we're going to destroy mankind. We murdered your father. No, they got to lie to him. They've got to sow in tares from the wheat of his father and uncle. And so this is what you see written by Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. in The Way to Perfection. Under the gathering at Adam-on-Diamond by voice of the priesthood. There will be a transfer of government authority from Lucifer to Jesus. I guess he believes that, but he's wrong. That's the Danite threat that Thomas B. Marsh warned about. This is a coup. It's not Lucifer. It's not Jesus. Lucifer is the President of the United States of America, or any national leader. All national leaders. Right, Putin? Right, Xi? Right, Un? Right, Salmon? To the head of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. Because he says, Jesus will then give it to the saints. He doesn't get it. Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. is also the one that says we're purposely hoarding money. And there will be a time when we've hoarded enough money so that Mormons will not be able, or will not need to pay tithing anymore. He didn't get it. He is kept out of the information of this plot. But in his naivete, he exposes the threat, confirming it with all the others. They got leaked. And so the secret combination he exposes. The world will not know of it. The members of the church will not know of it. The world cannot know of it. The saints cannot know of it. It's a secret combination. The coup is a secret combination. He thinks Jesus is real and is coming. And so he doesn't recognize a coup. The whistleblower exposed how much money the church actually has. And it's not 200 billion, guys. Come on. You're not paying attention. Is that the only source of revenue for the church? Seriously? They have got dozens of different sources of revenue. And Nelson's presidency came out after the whistleblower and confessed, yeah, this is what we're doing. We're hoarding money for Armageddon. Just like the whistleblower told you. And then justified it by saying, well, we're just following the parable of the talents. The parable of the talents is in Matthew 25 and is about the latter days. Confessing, yeah, we're hoarding money to overthrow the government. That's what it meant. The first presidency statement was a confession, we're overthrowing the government. And so then on March 14th, 2020, this is the leaked speech by Oakes, by a little sister missionary in Las Vegas, Nevada, that I didn't find out about until YouTube presented me with the video of a guy who's had the hots for this returned missionary. Thank you, YouTube. The pit which you digged for me is what pit you fell in or got the church to fall in. Good job. This is why evil is stupid. Because they have to anticipate leaks. The more people you get involved, the more it's gonna leak. And both Joseph Fielding Smith Sr. and the sister missionary are naive. They believe Jesus is true because they didn't study. They don't know how to do research using science and logical Socratic methodology that was restored with the Enlightenment period. And so Oakes says 2020 is going to be a test run, a trial run for the second coming. Which, like I said, Christians believe Jesus is a kidnapper and a hostage taker, and then a terrorist mass murderer using weapons of mass destruction. The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, by turning Joseph Smith and the Book of Mormon literal history as Christian, now it's an exalted, separate, distinct personage, non-Trinitarian. And so there is no kidnapping. We don't really talk about kidnapping. We only talk about mass murder, terrorist assassinations, overthrowing the government. All before the election. Oakes confesses, we are in control. We are running a test this year. And he knows about me. He got served on February 24th. Two and a half weeks before he went to Las Vegas. Nobody is supposed to know about this. The world will not know of Oakes' talk. The members of the church at large will not know of this talk. Those missionaries are only supposed to write home to mommy and daddy, Oakes came to speak to us. I felt the Spirit. Church is so true. Gotta go. They're not allowed to record him. The world cannot know of this. The saints cannot know of it because he, as a former prosecutor and a Utah Supreme Court justice, confesses to the plot to overthrow the government. And do you not understand what happened in 2020's election? Trump lost. He denied losing. Formed a coup on January 6th. And of course the enemies say, no it didn't. We were on vacation smearing poop on the walls. That's what we do on vacation. They lie and deny to cause confusion, to claim innocence. They victim blame the deep state Dems. And those in office are still in office. Those in the intelligence agencies are letting them get away with what they did. Only the lesser people who got brainwashed into this coup are the ones that are in prison. The ones who are orchestrating it, and the lieutenants, are never seeing a day in prison at all. The masterminds of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints corporate board will never see a day in prison for what Oakes says. Yep, another witness that we are coupping the government. We are the masterminds. We are the enemy. Which means they also put Trump in power in 2016. And this is why Harris will not become president this year. They've already set it up. They are purposely going to cause so much chaos, so much confusion, so much controversy that Americans will be riled up to not trust the election results, to try to decertify the election, to cause a civil war and a coup with murders, assassinations, violence, thefts, rapes, burnings. Just like the Danites did in 1838. And here it comes. 2 weeks from Tuesday. This is the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles of the Jews. According to the scriptures, this is the day when the house of Israel exodused away from the great and abominable church to go found Zion. Judgment Day was set under the Jewish learning back on the 12th. Yeah, Saturday the 12th of October. And since there is no fall of the great and abominable church, since there is no Exodus, there is no Zion. And we are told that only Zion will be at peace, safety, and refuge from the war all around the world. Section 85, Doctrine and Covenants. Guess we should read it for you. Joseph Smith is giving you a Jewish story using the book of Matthew 24 to tell it in his words to Mormons specifically. And so it's not about Jesus during the Roman period time. It's not about Jesus coming down to murder people. You've missed the whole point. So around 60. It shall be called the New Jerusalem, a land of peace, a city of refuge, a place of safety for the saints of the Most High God. That's Emmanuel, by the way, Son of God at noonday. And the glory of the Lord shall be there, and the terror of the Lord shall be also be there, insomuch that the wicked will not come unto it. Mormons. And it shall be called Zion. And it shall come to pass among the wicked that every man that will not take his sword against his neighbor must needs flee unto Zion for safety. For there shall be gathered unto it out of every nation under heaven those Mormons who have been scattered. And it shall be the only people that will not be at war one with another. And it shall be said among the wicked, let us not go up to battle against Zion, for the inhabitants of Zion are terrible, wherefore we cannot stand them. And the righteous shall be gathered out from among all nations, shall come to Zion, singing songs. Happy are we, soldiers in the army, there's a bright crown in store. Jesus is our terrorist assassin. Everlasting joy. Gospel of joy, right, Karen? Saudi Arabia, huh? So this is what the Book of Mormon warns. For those of you who read the end of the book first before beginning, you know the Book of Mormon is utter destruction. There is no Zion for the Nephites. They were utterly destroyed. And so if the fall does not happen, if there is no Exodus, there is no Zion. And in less than 2 weeks now, all hell will break loose. And you will have to fight for survival. All is lost. And so thus, this is my final video, again, unless a president of the church dies, but the curse of Joseph Smith is ruined now, if nothing happens after today. You know, you have to be within the time frame to fit the pattern, and to have it after, it just doesn't work. I cannot accept it as a scientist. You know, granted, tomorrow I'm going to be pissed, but fine, I'll do a video on the curse of Joseph Smith tomorrow, or the next day, up until the election. But dear God, why? Everything has been fulfilled. The Jews are right. The Jews are true. Not just because the enemy is self-fulfilling the self-fulfilling prophecies as the enemy. They didn't do the righteous part of it. That all came to pass. The Jewish Christ showed the enemy never believed in him, never believed in prophecy of the Jews. They knew that the revelations were correct as science, but they never believed in the prophecies. How could a human being be predicted for multi-millennia before he would come to earth as a baby of mortal parents? That's just incomprehensible. And yet he showed. And you can know him by his fruits. All you got to do is test him. He's got over 8K videos. And his #1 video makes it very blatantly obvious that it's him. He's got the right name. He fulfills every prophecy. He fulfilled every revelation in its time. But he's not responsible for the fall of the great and abominable church. He's not responsible for the war that will cause an extermination order upon mankind. He's the one that's supposed to take those who believe to Zion. And apparently there are none. Not enough. And so, for those few, you are the ones listening. Protect yourselves. Find places where you can be as safe as possible. But when Monson died at 10:01 in the morning, or in the evening, I didn't find out about it until about 8 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning the next day. That's when it was released to the public that he had died the night before. So maybe that's going to happen. I don't know. It's not up to me. But I am well aware that there are options here. Either the prophecies are going to be fulfilled, or the other prophecies of them not being fulfilled are going to be fulfilled. But everything has been fulfilled to this point, even 2020. So, I don't know, I don't want to put all those pictures in, because that would just take up more and more time. So, yeah, if the fall of the church happens, I'll do another video. If there are deaths for the curse of Joseph Smith, I'll do another video. But other than that, this is it. I already know what's coming. I've told you what's coming. It's all over the Book of Mormon. It's all over Joseph Smith. He tells you what's coming. The Bible tells you what's coming if you understand that it has to do with the latter days. And you put the right people in the right places in the stories. This is not religious freedom that is being done to our nation. So, am I finally able to retire? I don't know. Those two women did not watch my video yesterday because I didn't get any messages from them. But now my spam feed is flooded.